Hey everybody, this is Joe. Thank you for watching my Giga Texas construction update video. Today we'll start off with a recap specific to Giga Texas coming out of Tesla's 2023 financial report meeting that was held on the 24th of January here at Giga Texas. Now, I'm not going to go through every single financial portion of the meeting. That's something a lot of other YouTubers will do at much better capability than I can. But I want to start with some of the highlights that we can look at here at Giga Texas over the coming year. First of all, the Model Y, part of which is built here at Giga Texas, became the best-selling vehicle of any kind globally, and congratulations to Tesla. Tesla also mentioned that there are two major growth waves going on. The first is the Model 3Y platform, and then the next generation platform, and we know that that's going to be a big part of Giga Texas moving forward. The volume growth is going to be lower partly because of the launch of the next generation vehicle here at Giga Texas, and we'll see that through 2024. Moving through 2024, we can expect the ramp of Cybertruck to take longer than other models because of the manufacturing complexity. And also the Cybertruck conversion rate has been very encouraging, and they're very close to having sold out the entire production capability, at least the projected production capability here at Giga Texas for 2024. Now, despite some pretty poor reporting and inaccurate reporting by Reuters on this subject, Tesla went out of their way to say that the 4680 production is not a limiting factor for Cybertruck. They are weeks ahead on inventory and they're continuing to ramp. Line number 1 is fully converted to the Cybertruck cell. Lines 2 and 3 are in operation being used for testing and development. Line 4 will be online by the end of second quarter, and then 4 more lines, as we've been documenting the construction of here at the north part of Giga Texas, should be ready for production in the third or early fourth quarter of this year. Now, Cybertruck production and deliveries will ramp throughout the year, and we'll talk about that a little later. They delivered the Cybertruck with an all-new user interface and new communication bus. They are focused on bringing the next generation platform to market as quickly as they can, and they will start production here at Giga Texas in mid to late 2025. An important part of that is all of the construction and the new equipment that is arriving and being moved inside for installation that we have covered and we will continue to cover. The Tesla is very far along in the development of that next generation vehicle itself. They're excited about it, and it's a revolutionary new manufacturing system. And again, we're going to see a lot of that here at Giga Texas in the process of construction. They're going to have to get the south end completed. They need to do all of that work with the boring company, the tanks, the paint system, and a lot of other things that we have been watching progress here at Giga Texas to make this happen. Now, Tesla did mention that year over year, their operating income decreased, and a lot of that had to do with various factors, one of which is the Cybertruck production ramp. You can see here by the current installed annual capacity, this is a snapshot of their capacity right now. Here at Giga Texas Model Y, it's about over 250,000 annually. Cybertruck is listed at greater than 125 annually. Now, these are run rates, not what they can do instantaneously, and I expect this to change and grow throughout the year. Also, you can note the next generation platform is in development, and again, that is something that we're going to be watching as 2024 progresses. Now, speaking of what I project the Cybertruck ramp may look like here in 2024, again, this is my opinion, and your mileage may vary. I initially assumed a 12-hour single shift with 2 hours downtime per day, which is pretty accurate with what they're doing. You can see how the delivery rates are going to be low for the first quarter towards the end of the second quarter. There's a couple of big developments that I'll be looking forward to, and we'll be watching how the actual ramp progresses. One of which is in the second quarter, we expect a second shift for Cybertruck will come online, and that will greatly increase the production capability. Also, the 4680 production lines 1 through 4 should all start having production capability, and that will really greatly improve the amount of 4680s. And then in the third to fourth quarter, you can see that the lines 5 through 8 for the 4680s will come online, plus additional improvements. So I see 2 inflection points, as you can tell on this diagram, and we'll see as time goes on how the production ramp compares to what I expect. And this is in line with the information and guidance that Tesla gave during the financial results meeting. So now let's get into the drone. Let's see what Giga Texas looks like today following some heavy rains that came through the area earlier in the week. If you would like to support my efforts, please consider using these links, which will be in the video description. If you are interested in Tesla products, you can help yourself and support me by using my referral code. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons on my YouTube video, as this helps as well. Thank you. My drones are ready and raring to go. Let's go flying over Giga Texas. Well, as you can tell, it's quite foggy when I started flying here this morning here at Giga Texas, and I had to delay several hours because of all the fog. Fortunately, it will clear up to some degree as we fly. Now on the ground, on where you see the footings and some of the tracks for the cranes, a lot of water. It's been very rainy this week. And yesterday it was actually sunny, so it helped a little, but we're back into kind of that weather right now. Now, parking garage is definitely continuing to progress despite all the rains and the visibility. See, it's growing more towards the east on the left-hand side of the screen, and they're continuing to build it towards the north here in the middle part of the screen. The large staircase and also the elevator shafts on the right of the screen are well underway as well. And we can see that rebar mesh still on the roof. They haven't poured any of the concrete yet, but that should happen fairly soon. But I'll maneuver the drone around, try to get you as good of views as I can, considering the amount of fog was at the area during the time of the flight. But overall, this parking garage is definitely growing in size, and hopefully, maybe in the next couple of months that will be completed, as I know that parking spaces are becoming an issue as Giga Texas continues to hire more and more employees to support the larger production. So I'm going to fly up over the power lines and bring the drone down to show you some of the progress on the roof line, where they are doing the removal of the roof decking here and preparing for some ventilation shafts for some of the equipment that is down underneath this open section. And because of the lighting, I'll give you a good chance looking straight down at some of the activity. You can see workers assembling some of these pipe manifolds and a lot of other equipment that is immediately underneath this section. And where you see those black rectangular areas, right above that will be where we see those ventilation shafts. And those are actually located temporarily on the west side of the building, actually on the west side of the highway. So we'll see those a little bit later. So as we continue to fly over the building, I will come over the southeast corner. We'll take a look down and I'll show you the progress on the 4 tanks that are under construction here. They've added another layer on all 4 of them. They're continuing to do the welding, as you can see with some of the workers right now. And this is a really good look at how this is continuing to progress. We see those metal sheets on the left-hand side and top of the screen. Shows that we're probably going to see another level perhaps on these tanks as they continue to build these out. You also note that there's a lot of Cybertrucks on this road emanating out from the Stamping 2 extension area. This is where the Cybertrucks are now exiting the factory for the most part, and they come out onto this road. They are then convoyed over to the east outbound lot, and today I noticed a lot of them being moved directly onto trucks and then moved off-site. So really great to see that the production level here for the Cybertrucks appears to be ramping up from what I can see. Now on this part where the extension is being constructed, a lot of the water on the ground. As you can tell, many of the footings are flooded, but that is not stopping the continued erection of more of the steel. And we're adding another section heading off to the west, as you can see on the left-hand side of the screen. And this is continuing to build out sort of the south half of the structure to the perimeter grade beam, and the other crane, sort of to the right off the screen, is maneuvering some of the newly delivered steel items and preparing for those assembly as well. But as I continue to fly around, I'll give you a different perspective on the steel assembly that is going on here, plus all of the other steel beams on the ground waiting for their turn to be picked up and assembled. Along this entire south end on that second floor beam, the pads that will mount the glass are very present and apparent, and they're doing some work right now. And on this southeast corner, you can see that almost every single portion has glass except for one panel installed. And this is going to continue to wrap around on the entire south end of the building. And I'm waiting to find out if we're going to see glass on the second floor as well. But anyway, good view of the construction and the progress that is going on here on the south end extension, despite the rains and the mud that you can see on the site right now. So we'll continue to fly more over this perimeter grade beam next to all the steel that is being delivered, and we'll see that this second crane is in action, as I said, moving some of the steel parts around, getting ready for their turn for assembly. So let's fly around and give you a good view of this southwest corner. Most of the work for the footings and the perimeter grade beam is right here next to the old wall, and this is all being prepared to extend the wall where that saw cut is on that edge, and then join the two structures. It's also a good view of the two loading platforms and sort of that black enclosure that they have put on the top of the forms. Most likely that is to control the dust and also some of the cold weather and maybe the rain that we've been having. Looks like there's some more rack mounts on that trailer getting ready to be moved up. And we see back in this temporary staging lot, many more Cybertrucks waiting for their opportunity to be delivered to customers. They all have the sale stickers that you can see on the dashboard, some other documents as well. And again, some of these look like they are missing some plastic pieces around the top of the bed liner. So that possibly could be the reason why these are over here. For whatever reason, they're waiting for a few parts to be delivered. So I'm going to look across the highway now. We can see where the boring machine operations are going on. And we'll resume the flight here and take a look at what is underway despite all of the rain, mud, and the conditions. The Proofrock 3 has had two of the main parts assembled, and you can see with the tarps on the back, they're waiting for the aft end of it before it can go into operation. They're actively putting more of the concrete panels on the ground to help control the mud, and they're putting in some of these trailers along the edge where the drilling operation will take place. Now, right now, we can see this one trailer, but later on in the day, as I was leaving, I noticed that there was a second trailer that was being installed. But this is a really good close-in view, giving you an idea of how this assembly and preparation process is going for the Proofrock 3 as itself. And then as we fly up over where the warehouse on wheels has been moved around to allow the construction equipment for the boring tunnel and the Proofrock, we can see those three cement silos with the mixing tanks in those containers. This is for the grout mix that will be used to line the tunnel and before the concrete tunnel sections are installed. We see some of those blocks on the left being moved around. They've been using those in the pit for the Proofrock 3. And also we see the belt cassette, or that large conveyor system, being assembled now. That is used to remove the spoils or the dirt that is being drilled with the tunnel operation, and it removes it out of the Proof Rock 3 so that the drilling can continue. So anyway, a lot of progress, some more boring parts on the bottom right of the screen as well. Some of those are those concrete tunnel liners, and then there's some other parts, as you can see here, that are for that Proof Rock 3. In addition to that, conduit is continuing to be installed along the sides of this facility, and then on the south end here, the supercharger installation is really moving along. The underground conduits are mostly completed. You can see the vaults in the middle. You can see some of the electronic cabinets that power the superchargers. And then here, at least, there's appears to be 32 superchargers installed. And as some of my viewers have pointed out, they're installed in a drive-through configuration. So that's kind of interesting, and will be neat to see how they actually use these in the flow of the vehicles through this part and then into the outbound lot on the right-hand side of the screen. As we fly up over towards the warehouse and wheel, there's a new development that I want to show you. All of the spots for the warehouse on wheels have signs that tell where the trailers are located. And then now in this new section onto the fence, I'll zoom in here, you can see that they're putting in more of those markers that will indicate where the trailers are in the yard, so that when the yard trucks are dispatched out to pick up the trailers, they'll know exactly where they're going to be. So this answers the question of what is happening here. It is an expansion of the warehouse on wheels. This water detention pond is doing its job, holding a lot of water. You can see some of the berm erosion because of all the heavy rains. And in this particular area, I'm going to try to get you a zoom in look. All of these items that have the blue wrapping, and also underneath the blue is some of that white wrapping. All of these look like they may be some sort of press machines, or maybe one large press machine waiting for its turn to be installed. I'm not 100% sure, but if you happen to know, leave a comment and tell me what you think that these are. But there's quite a few of them, and they're being prepared for installation soon. This area with all these white boxes and that trailer with TKS is part of yet another modular paint system. And I know that we've seen a lot of this being installed on the second floor of the body in white on that east side, but looks like there's going to be another installation as well. More superchargers on the right waiting for their turn to be installed on the south end of the end-of-line facility, along with the 32 already installed. And then here on the far west side, more of the work on removing some of the brush and trees. And you can see the road now on the left extending up to the north. And I'll give you some closer views later in the video. This part of the outbound lot is still getting some trench work, some pipe work, and eventually this will be paved as well and expand further the outbound lot. Now, I've had some people ask, what is the end-of-line facility for, that large white structure that we're approaching? This is where they will do the final testing, calibration, checks. Also, if there are minor repairs that need to be made, this is where all that will be done. And of course, they will do the supercharging and prepare them for transport. So that's what this entire facility is for. And they are continuing to do the trench work and some of the generators and some of the HVA systems, some of them temporary, some of them permanent, all being installed so that this facility can start functioning. I've also understand that this facility and this outbound lot are critical for increasing the ramp of Giga Texas. So that's why this continues to be a priority to try to get this site completed. It does look like on this side some of the concrete curbs are being installed now. You can see that at the bottom of the screen, and it kind of gives you an idea of where we will eventually see asphalt for the paving that will go around this part of the facility. As mentioned, the water detention ponds and even this section of this area that's being graded has a lot of water because of all the rains that we've had. And as we continue to fly to the north, we can see more of that along the side of the road. Now, the biggest development is that this road has had most of the work now, the grade work to Tesla Road completed. You can see where the median is going to be. There are some telephone poles or power poles in the middle of the road that still need to be moved, but this gives you a really good view of how this is progressing. On the bottom right, we see more of the Evapco items that are destined for the battery cathode plant. And of course, much of the steel items that continue to be stored in this area, some of which is being used on the south end for the construction and that extension. And then some of it's being used still in the north end where the 4680 battery cell production area is being expanded so that they can increase the lines from 4 to 8. So there's a good view across this area, how it looks today. Also the new road that connects to Tesla Road, and you can see the connection on the left. And one other thing before we cross over the highway I noticed was this transport truck with Cybertrucks and getting ready to continue its delivery. Sometimes they do stop here, and I don't know if they're waiting for a certain time slot or what, but that's what they're doing here, and soon these will be on their way to customers. So let's cross over the highway and let's take a look at the north end of the building today. This is the part of the building that's getting expanded for lines 5 through 8. That will double the amount of lines for 4680 battery cell production. You can see on the bins at the bottom, there's still some concrete being removed, and they're doing rework of slabs within this entire section. The other thing that I wanted to point out to you, and some of my Patreons had mentioned this earlier, is next to both of these platforms, you see those blue kind of boxes and then that truss that's sticking up out of them. What we're seeing is elevators that are being installed here on both sides. You can see on the right-hand side, it's a little bit taller, and these will help with moving equipment, maybe people up and down onto those platforms. So interesting development. We also see more of these rack mounts being delivered on the north side of the paint shop, and more of the castings being stored here. These appear to be the front castings, and you can see that they are not trimmed. They have some of that remaining parts of the casting that need to be trimmed off and milled before they're ready for use. And then, of course, interestingly enough, on the northeast corner, we see these recycle bins with a number of Cybertruck rear end castings. Looks like they're getting ready to be moved off, maybe for recycling somewhere. But I did notice that there were more of the castings on the ground here. Some of these look like they are possibly the fronts. Some of them maybe for the Model Ys. And then, of course, so we see that flashing that has been milled off of the castings being moved and put into these dumpsters for recycling. And you can kind of see the operation here. It looks like it's a little bit of a challenge because you can see one of those flashings missing the bin. But this is what is going on here. It shows that the production of castings is definitely moved to a higher rate. On this side, the berm widening continues, more of the electrical wires through the conduit being installed. And we also see that some of the items for the furnaces and other materials on this side have been moved inside and possibly installed. It's a lot cleaner than it used to be. There's still those flue collectors that are waiting for installation, and those will connect to the pipes on the roof that will be part of that furnace system and recycling of the aluminum. Well, I did notice several videos ago that these sapphire liquid natural gas or LNG tanks next to these equipment, and it may be to help supplement some of the castings and casting machine furnaces for maybe some work that is being done with the permanent LNG lines that serve that section. These two areas where the apron is waiting for concrete continue to see some progress, but we're still waiting for the concrete to be poured, and hopefully that'll be fairly soon. In the testing and calibration lot, we do see more Cybertrucks supercharging. There's 3 of them right here, and as I pan the drone up and we fly along the canopies for the Superchargers, we see another Cybertruck and quite a few Model Ys waiting to enter this testing and calibration lot, and then be prepared for movement to the outbound lot. Now, this entire facility here is what is being the replacements being built on that west side. And once that's done, this entire lot will be moved over to the west side of the highway. But as I maneuver around, this gives you a good view of how this lot looks today. There's several Cybertrucks mixed in with the Model Ys on that lot. And then here we see many Cybertrucks being prepared for shipping. I did come and do some photo shoots before I came back to do the video here, and at that time there were a couple more transport trucks loaded up with Cybertrucks, and in just the time it took me to do the photos and then start the video, those trucks are gone. So they are moving quite quickly off site, as well as the Model Y. So this gives you a good sense of the activity that is going on here in the outbound lot, and just the movement of vehicles out from Giga Texas. As we approach the die shop on the left and the battery cathode on the right, we see this alleyway has now been mostly finished with concrete, and a lot of vehicles are using it for parking, which is a new change. We see many of the nitrogen tanks and vaporizers on both sides of this area, and then in the center next to these tanks, more preparation for concrete, and I think that's going to continue all along the base of the chiller plant. We can see the underground pipes going through that conduit have been connected. There's some more work being done with those white pipes sticking out of the ground for the underground water management system, and of course the work on the chiller plant as well. And we see that the fan units are in operation, and there's some steam working out from them as well. So they're definitely using them for some sort of testing or production inside the facility. As we fly along the west side, this gives you a good sense of some more of the earthwork that is going on, and also on the north end here next to the lift station. Looks like there's been some developments with some pipe work. You see that one sticking up with a J fitting on the top, and then we see another kind of a collection or manifold on the left-hand side, all moving over to where those three pipes are sticking up out of the ground. So continued progress on this lift station, and then nearby we see excavation work here in this area. Now there are underground water management pipes in this area, but it looks like they may be doing smaller pipes, so it's kind of hard to tell from that altitude and just the look that we got, but more of the work on that north end. As I pull away to the northeast, just give you a good quick sense of the materials in those tanks on this north end waiting for installation. But overall, as well as on the east side, a lot less materials are showing up. The cell test lab has got that brown trailer. We saw that several videos ago, moved in here. Looks like there's quite a bit of activity on this structure. And then the water management pond with the filtration system on the left is full of water. So is the wade pit, and it's just because of all the rains. And then yet another section getting earthwork here as they continue to prep this east side, probably for final paving and being a parking lot. The crash test lab continues to be busy. We saw some vehicles on the north end and some on the south end as well. Otherwise, with all of the rain, I think it makes it difficult to be using that facility right now. Because of the conditions, I'm going to continue to fly up towards the electrical switch yard. There are some big developments going on with the temporary switch yard today. As I came through and took photos before the video, I saw all of the trucks and the workers on the left that are starting to leave. They were here gathered in this section, and I think they were doing their discussion about the work that's going on, and you can see that the disassembly of this temporary electrical switch yard is well underway. This is part of LCRA, which is the Lower Colorado River Authority. They own the equipment here, and now that it's no longer needed, they are going to disassemble the entire site, and then they'll be using these elsewhere. So this equipment does not belong to Tesla, and since the new permanent electrical switch yard here is now fully operational, there's no need for that temporary switch yard. And I know some people have asked, does that switch yard going to stay? Or are they going to use it as a backup? I think the answer is pretty clear. No, it is no longer functional, and soon it will no longer be here at Giga Texas. As I cross over the power lines and come back down to the Megapack site, this is a really nice view using the clouds and the lighting of what the Megapack site looks today. On the right-hand side, all the Megapacks appear to be completely installed, and that's not what's keeping them from being connected. On this north end, we see that those double end breakers or disconnects still have not been turned to connect, and so the Megapack site is still not operational, and I'm not sure when that will be. Hopefully it will be soon, and possibly it's because Tesla and ERCOT are working out final details. So anyway, that's a very good look, I think, on this foggy day of Giga Texas. As always, thank you for your support, and I hope you have a great weekend.